All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another team preview. We just finished up Purdue, and we're just going to get back on the horse and go for it again. We got Kansas for this one.
Yeah, probably the hottest team in the country.
Oh, yeah. I would say so.
Number 3 in the country, 23-5 out of the mighty Big 12.
Mighty Big 12.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're leading the conference, not by much.
They are.
Texas, but
yeah, and they're really hitting their stride at the right time. They've won, their last four?
5, actually.
Five games, including a pretty good win over Baylor, who I think is really good on Saturday.
Yeah, Baylor played.
And then really TCU on the road. Might be the best 2-game stretch of any team in the country right now.
Yeah, at TCU with their best player back, Mike Miles.
Yep.
Tough win, 5-point win, but I mean, it's win on the road.
Yeah, I think it actually, they're a really good team, really balanced on offense. It kind of all starts with Jalen Wilson, though. He is really, really good in transition. He's a streaky shooter, but he can score at all 3 levels. He's a good player. I think he'll be Big 12 Player of the Year.
You think he'll be high up in national? I mean,
probably like third, fourth, somewhere in there.
Who's above him other than Edey?
Okay. Well, he had been running second. That's how I think. He had a rough game or two a couple weeks ago, though.
Yeah, I even think he struggled against TCU a little.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't actually think of who right now, but there's somebody that I'm blanking on right now.
Oh, is it Indiana's?
Oh, maybe Trace Jackson Davis. Could be.
He's overrated, but yes.
Anyway, Kansas, like Purdue, another team that ranks in the top 20 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. More so an offensive team, but I think their defense actually sets up a lot of what they do on offense because it allows them to get out in transition where they are really good.
They're not an offensive powerhouse?
They're not an offensive powerhouse.
That's what I call them.
Solid offense that can be exceptional when they get out in transition.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point, actually, where stats kind of lie, where if you look at how many points per game they're giving up, it's not good. It's over 100. Yeah. But they're in the top 50 in terms of field goal percentage, only 41%.
Well, that's what comes when you play a faster tempo. Both teams get more possessions. It's going to lead to more points. And then they play in the Big 12 where you've got scoring teams. Like I said, you got Texas, you got Kansas State, you've got TCU. I think there was one more I was saying. Baylor. All those teams pretty good at scoring the ball, scoring the basketball. So, I don't know. I think that their defense is pretty underrated. They force a decent amount of turnovers.
McCullough from Texas Tech, weirdly enough. He's not like a star. Kind of reminds me of Remy Martin, but he has 2 steals a game. So, I mean, he makes an impact even if he's not hitting shots, which you notice more if you watch him at times.
No, they just play pressure, man-to-man defense, try to make teams play fast, and when teams start missing, they get the ball up the court in a hurry, and they're pretty scary when they get in transition. If you need an example of that, watch the second half of the Baylor-Kansas game.
Yeah, Baylor's just dominating them in the first half, and then the second half, they don't really put up.
And look at what the main difference in the 2 halves was. First half, Baylor's scoring. Second half, Kansas is getting stops and getting out in transition.
Yeah.
Instantly go from down 15 to up 10.
And the crowd's going nuts. And it was never really close. Even if, the score got close, when they were overtaking
neither team looked even at any point. It's first half, Baylor was way better than Kansas. Second half, Kansas way better than Baylor. Yeah, it was strange. But
one guy they highlighted in that game who I wasn't really aware of, to be honest. I always think of, Wilson and Grady Dick, who's a freshman who can shoot. Pretty athletic guy, too. Just kind of a flashy.
Kind of a Devin Booker type, honestly.
Stupidest thing he keeps saying.
He's got a really good shot, really good pull-up game. Obviously, he hasn't he's not nearly as refined as Booker in terms of craftiness around the rim and stuff.
Yeah,
he's a freshman. He's got time.
I don't care.
I'm not trying to say he's going to be Booker, okay? He just has a similar playing style.
Well, there you go. We got him to backtrack. it's a success. Yeah, but he is shooting over 40% from deep. Had a nice what was it, like a reverse layup against Baylor? I don't know. He's just kind of flashy.
Actually missed that one, but it looked sick. It was an alley-oop reverse layup, and it just a little strong off the glass. But yeah, I remember watching that. I was thinking, gosh, this guy's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he is. And one guy like KJ Adams, who I didn't really know that much about, they kind of highlighted him because of his mom who's good at basketball, and he has like a block a game.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a crazy amount, like he's averaging 10
kind of a glue guy.
Yeah, not a ton of rebounds for like a big post player. Yeah, but you were saying it, they're really balanced, so that's part of it. I feel like.
And he man, he has some pretty good highlights this year. He's kind of just dunks everything, it feels like. And he gets some pretty good ones. So
no. And I mean, we mentioned how Kansas is like one of the hottest teams, but they also had like a pretty rough stretch where they lost 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
And I think that was January. The Kansas State game was one of them.
Yeah. Lost by 1 on the road against Kansas State, and then the next 2, I don't know if they were just reeling from that game, but they got beat by like
TCU.
23 at home against TCU, and then 15 or something against was that Baylor?
Baylor. It wasn't quite 15, but 13, it was
something like that.
Yeah,
7. I don't remember.
6.
They lost by 15 to Iowa State a couple weeks later.
Yeah, that was kind of eye-opening too.
Yeah.
I felt more so for Iowa State. They were at home. I was like, oh, these guys are legit, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's the weird thing about Kansas. A few of their losses, and I don't think you can get anything from this, but it's not like every game they've lost has been close. They've had like 2 close losses, but then 3 of them have been double digits. And like early on, Tennessee kind of blew them out, relatively speaking, 64-50. I mean, that's low scoring, kind of. So that's how I think you beat them. I was telling you this.
Like I said, if you slow down the pace and make shots and don't allow them to get easy ones in transition, they're not going to score as well. That's why I say they're not an offensive powerhouse, because they need their defense to kind of get them going.
Yeah,
they need to get stops, and if you can score and don't turn the ball over.
They can take it out of bounds.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, well, no, that's true.
It's just an energy thing, too, for them. I feel like Kansas I honestly think right now that Kansas is the best team in the country. And it feels like an energy thing because sometimes they just seem like they don't show up for a half or, every once in a while.
Yeah.
But if they – like the energy they had in the Baylor Kansas game was unreal, and you could say the crowd played a part in it. Sure, of course it did, but it took a lot of them just to get back into the game, kind of. So I don't know, and that was without the crowd. They had to get somewhere for the crowd to get into it. So.
No, exactly. Even for Allen Fieldhouse, it wasn't anything that crazy either, because it was just they got kind of destroyed the first half, and they were down like 13 at half, which was good for what had happened on that. So. I agree. I do think they're probably – I would even have them as 1 at the moment. And part of that may be because we saw them Saturday. And then they beat TCU, so it's like this wasn't just one big game. They showed up for at home.
And we were going to mention Dwan Harris, I think, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to talk about him.
He's my guy, and I forgot about him completely.
Yeah.
No, he had like 14 and 9 assists Saturday, but he was just – it wasn't like the stat sheet. I think you were making a joke about him or something. And then he started hitting like shots.
Yeah, he made 2 threes. Yeah, he definitely doesn't shoot very often. It kind of reminds me of, I said this during the time. I said he kind of reminds me of Rondo.
Yeah, you did.
Is maybe a bit of a stretch, but at the same time, another similar play style where he doesn't, teams kind of sag off him, they kind of let him shoot.
Yeah.
Really good passer and stuff. So.
Yeah, no, he's I don't know. I feel like he's one of those guys that is he's
a really good guy to have on a good team.
Yeah, I almost think he's an indicator. I'm not saying he has to play well for them to win because I think that'd be misleading, but I feel like if he's playing well, I don't see them losing many games because the chances are he's got a lot of help. And he's not the guy.
Yeah. It's the same thing with their shooting too. If they're hitting threes outside of Grady Dick, Yeah, if other guys are starting to hit shots, it's going to be a tough night.
Yeah, no, I don't know. But the thing about playing slow is, and I do believe, yeah, that's probably how you beat them. But also, I feel like a lot of the top teams in basketball, okay, Tennessee, no. But a lot of the top teams, if they were to slow the game down, it would have hurt them,
yeah,
I feel like. I'm thinking of Arizona and like even Miami, and I don't know.
Right.
I just don't think it plays.
Teams that don't, Purdue, Houston play slow.
Houston, that's a good matchup for them, I guess.
Yeah.
I just don't have Houston. I think Kansas is better than Houston because Houston really hasn't played many people in conference.
And another thing about Kansas is they've won 14 quad one games this year, which is a record for most quad one games won in a season.
You still got 3
since
games
the net started, yeah. And a lot of that is because the Big 12, obviously, every win is basically quad one this year.
Yeah.
But still impressive nonetheless.
No, yeah, and they have a chance to pick up their last game of the season is at Texas, number 8 in the country.
Yeah.
Was leading the Big 12 for I feel like a lot of the season, right? Not by much, but like
they were. Mm-hmm.
Now they're just barely, what is it, a half game?
That game will probably be to decide the conference, potentially.
Unless they trip
Texas has a tough one too. I think they might play Baylor though. So
that sounds right.
But yeah. Another thing I wanted to say about Dajuan Harris, actually, he's got 20 assists and 2 turnovers in the last 2 games, which is insane. That is a 10, basically like an assist to turnover ratio, 10-1. And the all-time NCAA record for assist to turnover ratio is 4.6. So for 2 games, he's been immaculate, to say the least.
And against really good teams, too. Garbage.
And that was by Monte Morris, actually, for Iowa State. Back in, I don't know what year that was, but 2014, 15.
That sounds right, 15 roughly. Yeah.
But yeah, they say that's one of the records that will never be touched, too, 4.6.
That was for a season.
Yeah.
Okay. If only would have done this earlier.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what he's averaging for turnovers, but he's, 6.2? Assists per game or something?
He's leading the team in assists.
Yeah, like 6 assists per game. I'm not sure how many turnovers he averages, but
that's I almost think it's like 2, but it might not be that much.
Which would be 3.
Yeah, 3. God, that is a tough.
4.
It doesn't sound
insane, but then you think about it, it's like
8-2. Yeah,
better than that. Yeah, it's better than that.
Wow. Yeah, that is a crazy record. But yeah, no, they only have West Virginia and Texas Tech, which they're at home, though, so that helps. Mm-hmm. And then they have Texas to finish it out. But, we've seen West Virginia. They give most teams a fight. Texas Tech won another really hot team.
Texas Tech's been playing well. They might sneak their way back in. So
yeah, they're playing like absolute
watch
garbage
out for the Raiders.
Yeah, they might be a bid stealer from the best conference in America.
Yeah, so they might not even have to be a bid stealer at that point. They went. They're working their way back into the mix anyway. So
yeah, that's true. No, but where do you have Kansas? We usually do this. Like what's their ceiling?
Championship. Right now, if I were to pick a team, I think I might pick them. Right, if it was March Madness next week, or like this coming weekend, I think I'd pick them to win the championship.
Yeah, I don't know if I could bring myself to do it in the bracket. I might find some reasoning or a matchup. I'm like, I'll upset them here. But especially after, their last 5.
I think they're certainly a top 4 team.
Oh, yeah. No, I think they're sitting as a championship too, which would suck. I don't want to see back-to-back. And we're a long ways from that. But, they have the potential. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I liked it earlier.
They're a really balanced team, and they have a lot of different ways they can beat you. So, good guard play. They check off a lot of boxes in terms of what you want from a team in March.
Yeah, we'll just see where they end up. But, we'll be back with another preview soon. As you can tell, we're cranking them out now. We don't have much time.
Yeah, so we slacked off a little bit, so now we got to start grinding.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, thanks. This was Kansas Preview. Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah. Peace.